The 5 exercises of Falun Gong, also called Falun Dafa, were relatively simple. And despite numerous claims of illnesses disappearing through the practice, Falun Gong founder Li Hongzhi emphasized the spiritual component of the practice. Being a good person by following the principles of truth, compassion, and tolerance.
My husband's mother was also very traditional, and because she was my elder, she would demand a lot of respect and obedience. She liked to eat dumplings, and I would make these for her every week. Also, her health was very bad, and I would... For instance, if her clothes were dirty, I would immediately wash them for her. Before I cultivated, I wouldn't do any of these things for her. I just wouldn't.
Some of the teachings that Falun Dafa has helped me with my family, especially my brothers and sisters, because I have a big family. There were actually 12 of us, and 10 of us are still alive.
Betty Hunter is a research librarian from New York. She learned Falun Gong after seeing people doing the exercises in Brooklyn's Prospect Park.
And when I'm dealing with them, I try to be as truthful as I possibly can based on my understanding. I try to have compassion, which means that I don't meddle in their lives anymore, even my own children. I try to have tolerance. When I think they should be doing something and they don't, I can sort of back away and allow them to do it at their own time. Or if they never do it, it's okay. And I'm especially like that with my grandchildren. And so my children always say, is that the same lady that brought us up? She doesn't look like the same lady and she doesn't act like the same lady.
The founder of Falun Gong, Li Hongzhi, was born on May 13, 1951 in northeast China's Gongjuling city. He came of age during the Cultural Revolution, and in 1984, when Qigong was becoming popular, he decided to create Falun Gong, a Qigong practice based on the cultivation system he'd studied as a child. 5 years later, in 1989, Li began teaching Falun Gong to a few students in private. 3 years later, in 1992, Li gave his first public seminar, introducing the practice to the public. The seminar was held on Li's birthday, May 13th, at this school in the city of Changchun. Over the next 2 years, Li would travel to almost every major city in China teaching the practice. Although he lectured before crowds of thousands of people, the practice was mainly spread by word of mouth.
When I was in Thailand, I was working as a kitchen hand in a restaurant. There was a tall, good-looking kid who worked in the kitchen as well. He called me Sister Li. One day he said, "Sister Li, why are you always happy and smiling? And why is your face always glowing?" I said, "I cultivate Falun Dafa." He said, "Oh, so that's how it is." A few days later, he said, "I want to learn Falun Gong. Is this okay?" I said, "Okay, sure."
In the beginning, both the Chinese government and state-run media were largely supportive. State television featured interviews with practitioners who claimed to have improved their lifestyles and health through the practice.
The changes for myself, the changes for my family and my relatives who see me. It's as though I have been born anew, as though it wasn't me anymore. The me in the past was not like this. In the past, I would get drunk, smoke, fight, indulge in food and play. That's the stuff I did.
In 1994, Li stopped giving seminars in China, but he continued to write and lecture. He also traveled abroad and lectured in many other countries, eventually settling in New York in 1996, where he lives with his wife and daughter. 2 years later, Li's most popular book, Zhuan Falun, was translated into English. Since then, Falun Gong has spread to around 80 countries, and Li's writings have been translated into over 40 languages. Fueling the spread was Falun Gong's use of the internet. All the Falun Gong books in all available languages, as well as exercise instructions and music, were available for free online.
I read some Chinese philosophy, did some Chinese practices. I came across the term celestial cultivation. I decided to go on the internet and do a search on celestial cultivation. To my surprise, 2 things came up. And one of them was Falun Gong, and one of them was a phone number somewhere. I called that phone number and got nothing. And when I went back to the Falun Gong website, I was shocked because everything was free. I just started clicking the print button over and over and over again because I thought tomorrow the promotion's going to be over and this is going to cost money.
Practitioners use other Falun Gong websites to post works of art and music inspired by the practice. These works are also on display every May 13th when practitioners hold parades and rallies to celebrate what's become known as Falun Dafa Day. The day commemorates Li's birthday and the day the practice was first taught in public. The costumes and performances are done in traditional styles and are intended to showcase Falun Gong's connection to ancient Chinese culture. It's a connection that goes beyond the colorful silks and traditional tunes. Over 2,000 years ago in China, Confucius taught the 5 virtues of benevolence, righteousness, loyalty, propriety, and learning. Ancient Buddhist and Taoist teachings also emphasized different aspects of morality. But during the Cultural Revolution, Confucius was denounced along with Mao's personal enemies, and Mao's theories were taken as the absolute truth. Falun Gong's revival of traditional moral concepts resonated with the memories of a dead history. And in a country that had been violently cut off from its past, Falun Gong offered a way to bridge the gap.
I bought a copy of Zhuan Falun and I read it all the way home from the park, my hands just holding it up in front of me. When I read the preface, in the opening part of the book, it was a shock, something life-changing, like an earthquake. I knew this was exactly what I was looking for.
When I first started to practice Falun Dafa, we practice in a park in Brooklyn. And many times African Americans would pass by and want to know why would we be practicing something like that when it's Chinese. And we basically try to help them to understand that it's not Chinese, it's not African American, it's not Anglo-Saxon American. It's a diverse practice. And it doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with race. It has everything to do with what's going on with your own life and what you are seeking to understand at this particular time in your life.